Derek, if you dare cut me off one more time, you can stand before the board and explain this revenue shortfall on your own. Claire Bennett never raised her voice. She did not need to command every person in the room. 12 executives sat around the conference table, and every single one suddenly found their laptop screens impossibly fascinating. I kept one hand pressed flat against the printed forecast laid out right in front of me. The gap itself is not the issue, I told her. The assumptions built into this model are flawed. Claire's features stayed perfectly composed, unruffled by my open challenge. Then enlighten us. This was Claire, 32 years old, president of Bennett Strategic. She was notorious for stripping apart weak ideas without mercy, and occasionally the people who pushed those ideas forward. Even a simple good morning rolling off her tongue could sound like an official performance warning. I tapped one line on the document to draw everyone's attention. Westbridge projects an 18% growth rate while slashing customer acquisition spending by 9%. Unless they have discovered an endless stream of customers who cost nothing to attract, this forecast is pure fantasy. Mark Phillips from finance shifted uncomfortably in his office chair. We have already signed off on this methodology. And that methodology is fundamentally wrong. Claire leaned back against her chair and spoke my name. Derek. I finally lifted my gaze to meet hers, and a woman's voice echoed clearly inside my head out of nowhere. Look at him. Stay calm. He is drawn to reserved, unemotional women. My mouth hung halfway open, frozen mid-sentence. Claire's expression had not shifted even one fraction. She lifted a single eyebrow, waiting for me to finish the thought I had started. Are you going to complete that sentence? I glanced sideways at Rachel beside me, who continued typing away at her keyboard. Mark scrolled endlessly through spreadsheets, and no one looked remotely confused by my strange pause. The voice resounded inside my mind once more. Why won't he stop staring? Stop fixating on his eyes. Stay professional. I dropped my gaze back to the report so hastily I nearly knocked over my coffee mug. What is wrong with you, Derek? Claire questioned me. Yeah, sorry. Her tone sharpened instantly. An apology does not fix flawed data. That came across far harsher than I intended. Damn it. I considered softening the remark, then second-guessed myself. No, leave it as it is. He responds well when I maintain strict boundaries. I pressed my lips firmly together. There were no speakers hidden anywhere in the conference room. Claire wore no earpiece, and unless she had suddenly mastered ventriloquism, those words never left her lips. I told myself exhaustion was making me hallucinate. That weak explanation lasted roughly 8 seconds before I discarded it entirely. Claire turned toward Mark. Run the sensitivity model once again. Mark frowned in confusion. Today. Yes, Derek was correct. There was no denying that reality. An infuriatingly attractive man with infuriatingly precise spreadsheets. I coughed softly into my fist. Claire's eyes snapped straight toward me. Something funny? No. He almost smiled. That outcome was far worse than I anticipated. Claire closed the folder resting on the table before her. Everyone leave the room except Derek. Half the table began moving before she finished speaking. Rachel walked past behind my chair and whispered quietly. What did you do to upset her? I have absolutely no clue. Unfortunately, that statement was completely truthful. The office door clicked shut. Claire stood up and strode over to the window, folding her arms tightly across her chest. You embarrassed the finance team today. They embarrassed themselves with their sloppy analysis. That exact attitude is why so many people file complaints about you. Which people? She turned to face me directly. Would you like a full list? Please say yes. I have exactly 3 names memorized and I cannot stand any of them. I looked down quickly to stop my facial expression from betraying my inner thoughts. Maybe some other time. Claire walked back toward the conference table. You have been unusually difficult to work with this month. I have always been difficult. True. But normally you pick much better timing for your pushback. And normally you follow me back to my office afterward to argue for 20 minutes. You have not done that lately. Her observation struck me hard because she was entirely right. I had been actively avoiding visits to her office. It was not because of her personally. 6 days earlier, I had submitted an internal transfer application. There was an open position within Chicago operations. For 3 years, I had been the person Claire called whenever a crisis erupted. I craved a role where not nearly half of the building felt like it was perpetually on fire. I had not shared my plans with anyone up to this point. Claire picked up the forecast document I had submitted. You were correct about Westbridge. Thanks. That did not sound like genuine praise to my ears. It most definitely was praise. I rubbed my forehead slowly. Claire narrowed her eyes. Are you feeling unwell? No. Your behavior has been extremely odd. Have you ever heard something you were never meant to hear? The question slipped out before I could hold it back. For the first time all morning, her expression shifted ever so slightly. What did you hear? Her voice remained calm, yet her inner thoughts screamed loud inside my head. Did he find out about Chicago? He cannot know I saw the transfer request. Human Resources was not supposed to send me notification yet. My fingers tightened around the edge of the conference table. She knew about the Chicago transfer. I forced my tone to sound casual. Nothing important. Claire studied me closely. Liar. Then her unspoken thought softened. Please do not leave. Those quiet words hit harder than every argument we had exchanged all morning. I struggled to reconcile that vulnerable thought with the powerful woman standing before me. Claire Bennett once sent back my 12-page proposal simply because one chart label was misaligned. She told an executive vice president in front of 40 staff members that confidence cannot replace competence. She did not beg people to stay, especially not silently. I rose from my seat. I should get back to my regular work. Sit. I froze in place. Good. That came out naturally. You are detaining me. I need to discuss your conduct. I need 5 more minutes to work out how he learned about the transfer to Chicago. I slowly lowered myself back into the chair. Claire opened a desk drawer and pulled out a pen, then seemingly forgot the reason she retrieved it. You have concerns regarding your role within the department. Should I? No. Yes. Clearly he does. Why would he apply for a transfer to Chicago without speaking to me first? Did I push him too hard? Was it the weekend phone calls? It was most likely the Saturday check-ins. You call me every single Saturday. The comment escaped before I could think it through. She lifted her head sharply. I wanted to kick myself instantly. Claire's eyes narrowed. I am aware of that schedule. Right. How did we land on this topic? Pure luck on my part. That was far more than random guesswork. Suspicion crept into her unspoken thoughts. Fantastic. Not only could I apparently hear my boss's inner monologue, but she was sharp enough to notice I answered questions she never voiced. Claire secured the cap onto her pen. You will not transfer to Chicago. There it was, plain and simple. I leaned forward slightly. Excuse me? Her expression hardened into corporate ice once more. The department needs you here. That transfer request has not even received official approval yet. I know. Oh. Executive access. Terrible excuse. You accessed my HR file without permission. I reviewed all pending staffing adjustments. That wording sounds far nicer than the reality. It absolutely is nicer. I let out a short laugh. Claire, you do not get to decide whether I submit an application. Her jaw tensed visibly. I decide whether this department releases you. State you will stay and I will approve every vacation day you request for the next 5 years. I nearly laughed again. Instead, I posed a direct question. Why do you care this much? Claire answered instantly out loud. Operational continuity. At the exact same time, her thought echoed inside my mind. This place is unbearable without him around. Every sarcastic retort I had prepared vanished completely. Claire mistook my stunned silence for anger, so her voice softened by half a degree. Derek, this is not personal. It feels painfully personal to me. I stood up a second time. She did not tell me to sit back down this time. I walked toward the door, trying to process how utterly impossible my morning had become. Then one final thought drifted into my mind. If he discovers why I hired him in the first place, Chicago will be the smallest problem we face. My hand paused on the metal door handle. I turned back toward her. Claire. Yes. Why did you hire me? Her fingers stopped moving across the report page, and her inner voice blared clearly inside my skull. Oh hell. Claire recovered her composure so rapidly I almost wondered if I imagined that thought. You were qualified for the role, she said. I recognized your name the moment your resume landed on my desk. I kept my grip on the door handle. That is all? What other reason would there be? Do not ask another question. Were there other candidates for the position? Of course. 27 applicants. And I was the top choice? Yes. Not even close. 2 candidates possessed stronger resumes on paper. That remark almost offended me. I fully turned to face her. Are you certain? Claire set the report down flat. Derek, are you experiencing some crisis of confidence? No, merely curious. Save your curiosity for your desk. Please leave before I start thinking about that photograph. Photograph. I waited patiently, hoping her mind would reveal additional details. Nothing new came through. Claire gestured toward the exit. You may go now. Why is he still standing there? Leave. No, wait. Do not go. This situation is ridiculous. I stepped out of the office before my facial expression exposed everything. By lunchtime, I had come up with two potential explanations. 1. I developed a rare neurological condition that only lets me hear Claire Bennett's inner dialogue. 2. I genuinely possessed the ability to listen to her thoughts. Neither possibility offered any comfort, so I decided to run a test. At 12 o'clock, I carried a revised forecast into Claire's office. She was busy reading an incoming email. I fixed the West Bridge analysis. Leave it on the desk. I set the folder down, yet instead of stepping backward, I leaned forward and pointed at page 2. I adjusted the churn assumptions on this section. Claire's eyes stayed locked on the numbers. He is standing far too close. I shifted half an inch nearer to her desk. Oh, come on. Interesting. I leaned forward a tiny bit more. Claire finally raised her head to look at me. Do you require something? No. Then why are you practically leaning over my desk? Not that I am complaining. I straightened my posture immediately. Personal space. Noted. Her expression remained icy and unchanging. Idiot. Why did I make him move away? Test 1 was successful. Unfortunately, it was also incredibly entertaining for me. At 3 o'clock, I tried another experiment. Rachel Morgan stopped beside my desk carrying 2 cups of coffee. You saved us from that West Bridge disaster. Dinner is on me to repay you. Be careful. I dine at expensive restaurants. Then appetizers will be my treat. I laughed aloud. Claire rounded the corner at exactly the wrong or possibly perfect moment. Rachel. Rachel twisted around to face her. Yes. I require the vendor analysis finished by 4 o'clock. It is nearly complete. Nearly does not count as finished. Why is she buying him dinner? I glanced over at Claire. Her face could have been carved from cold marble. Rachel walked away mumbling complaints about tyrannical managers. Claire's gaze drifted to my coffee mug. Do you not already have a drink? Rachel brought this one over. I noticed. Naturally, I noticed. I took an intentionally slow sip of coffee. That is generous of her. Claire's mouth tightened. She should spend less time buying coffee and more time finishing her analysis, and less time flirting with my... Her thought cut off abruptly. My what? I nearly choked on my drink. Claire noticed my reaction. Are you all right? Perfect. Why is he smiling all of a sudden? Just good coffee. I could buy you coffee. That single line sealed it. I turned toward my monitor to hide my grin before she spotted it. Claire walked away and I was starting to enjoy this strange ability far too much. Then events grew even weirder. At 5:40 an email popped up inside my inbox. Transfer request status. Withdrawn. I read the notification twice. I had not withdrawn anything. I picked up my phone and dialed Human Resources. A woman named Melissa answered. Human Resources. This is Derek Hayes. My transfer application to Chicago has been marked withdrawn. Faint keyboard clicking echoed through the line. Yes, I see the record here. By whom? It shows an administrative cancellation. What exactly does that mean? More clicks on her keyboard. You will need to speak directly to your division executive. Of course I would. 5 minutes later, I marched into Claire's office without knocking. She was placing documents into her briefcase. You canceled my transfer. No, that was fast. Because I did not submit the withdrawal request. HR stated executive administration canceled it. Claire's facial expression did not shift at all. That was not supposed to take place until tomorrow. There was my confirmation. You knew about this? I knew your transfer was under review. That is not the question I asked. Watch your tone. Stop policing my tone and answer my question. Her eyes hardened. Sit down. No. He is furious. Great job, Claire. You had no authority to interfere with my application. I did not. You just thought. I halted mid-sentence. Claire's eyebrows pulled together. I just what? My pulse raced. I was pushing too close to the truth. I said you simply told me you knew the request was under review. That is not what you were about to say. Yes, it was. No, it was not. Something strange is going on. He has behaved this way all day. Claire stepped out from behind the desk. I took one step backward before realizing how suspicious that movement appeared. She stopped directly in front of me. You knew I was thinking about those Saturday phone calls. A lucky guess. You knew I planned to ask whether you were sick. You stared at me like I was gravely ill. And just now, I shrugged casually. You are predictable. Claire actually looked offended. Predictable? Me? Extremely predictable, I added. He is blatantly lying. I almost smiled. Then her next unspoken thought erased every trace of amusement. If he finds out about the transfer, Mason may have already reached out to him. Mason. I had never heard that name before. Claire moved back toward her desk. Your transfer request can be reinstated. That revelation genuinely surprised me. When? Tomorrow. And you are okay with that outcome? No. The answer arrived too quickly. Her eyes flicked toward mine. I mean, operationally speaking, no. Personally, I do not care where you choose to work. That may be the most ridiculous lie I have ever heard. Good, I replied. Something in her expression cooled further. Why did he reply with good, like that? Perhaps Chicago will offer me a fresh start. No. Clean slate with brand new colleagues. Rachel is already far too many new people for comfort. I stuffed both hands into my pockets to hold back laughter. Then I pushed one step further. I might start dating again soon. Claire's face remained blank, yet her inner thoughts exploded. Dating who? I bit down gently on the inside of my cheek to stay composed. Claire grabbed her briefcase. Your personal life holds no relevance to me. Glad we can agree on that. We absolutely do not agree. I reached the office doorway. Derek. I twisted around for half a second. Claire appeared ready to voice something genuine. Instead, she posed a different question. Has anyone contacted you recently to ask about me? That was not what I expected to hear. No. Anyone named Mason Cole? There it was. No. Who is he? Nobody you need to worry about just yet. A chill ran down my spine after hearing those words. Claire grabbed her coat. This conversation is finished. But as I stepped into the hallway, one final thought followed me. If Mason learns Derek intends to leave, he will move ahead with his plan sooner. I froze outside her office door. This conflict was never only about Claire secretly having feelings for me. Something larger was unfolding, and somehow I stood right in the center of it all. My phone buzzed. An unknown number sent a message. I opened the text immediately. If Claire Bennett asks about me, do not tell her we spoke. We must discuss the real reason she hired you. Mason Cole. I read Mason Cole's message 3 separate times before locking my phone screen. When I glanced back through the glass office wall, Claire was already gone. The simple choice should have been obvious. Delete the message, head home, and pretend none of this happened. Instead, I typed out a reply. Who are you? The response came almost instantly. Someone who knows Claire did not hire you based purely on your resume. Do not mention my name at work. I disliked mysterious people who acted as if every punctuation mark wasted valuable time. I typed another message. Then explain everything to me now. No reply arrived. Perfect. The next morning, Claire waited beside my desk before I even set down my work bag. You are coming with me tonight. I blinked in surprise. A simple good morning would have been nice first. 7 o'clock. The Holston Foundation charity dinner. I do not recall volunteering to attend. You did not volunteer. Then I am busy. No, you are not. I slowly turned toward her. How can you be certain? Claire's expression stayed icy. I reviewed your calendar. I almost laughed out loud. You check my calendar? Her eyes narrowed. I have access to your official work calendar. I did not specify the work calendar. That comment caught her off guard for a split second. Stop being difficult. He caught that slip. I must stop giving him clues. What exactly will I be required to do at this dinner? Stand beside me. That sounds extremely demanding. It is straightforward. It will not stay simple if Adrian touches my arm again. I caught that name. Who is Adrian? Claire's jaw tightened. I never said Adrian. No, but your facial expression gave it away. That logic does not make any sense. How does he keep doing this? I leaned against my desk. Try me. She exhaled sharply through her nose. Adrian Wolf is the son of one of our largest investors. He mistakenly believes I am romantically interested in him. You need me there because, Claire hesitated. Then she finished the sentence. You will pretend to be my boyfriend. I nearly dropped my coffee mug. Rachel, 3 desks away, definitely heard that announcement. Her head shot upward instantly. I am your what? Temporary boyfriend. You say that as if this is a regular consulting project. In a way it is. Please agree to this. I folded my arms across my chest. What benefit do I receive? Claire stared straight at me. A free dinner. That is terrible compensation. Fine. I will personally approve your Chicago transfer tomorrow. That offer shocked me. Her inner thought arrived immediately. And then I will spend the whole night figuring out how to make him lose interest in Chicago. I smiled. It is a deal. Her eyes sharpened. Why are you smiling? No reason. That smile is going to ruin my entire evening. At 7, I met Claire outside the Holston Hotel. She wore a dark green dress, subtle enough to look effortless, yet expensive enough to make me second-guess every purchase I had made over the past year. She looked me up and down once. You clean up adequately. Well, I lifted an eyebrow. Only adequately? Yes. Do not admit he looks unfairly attractive in a tuxedo. Thanks. You look adequate as well. Her mouth tightened. I deserved that jab. Inside the venue, she briefed me as we walked through the ballroom. Do not improvise anything. I always improvise. Not tonight. How long have we supposedly been dating? 3 months. Where was our first date? Dinner. That backstory is barely convincing. I should have written notes to remember details. You made notes, did you not? Claire halted mid-step. No. Her mind screamed. They are stored inside my purse. I fought back a grin. This evening will be entertaining. It absolutely will not be fun. 10 minutes later, Adrian Wolfe appeared before us. Tall, polished, wearing an expensive watch and practicing a rehearsed smile. Claire. His hand reached out to touch her elbow. Claire stepped closer to my side instantly. Move your hand before I remove it for you. Adrian, she said, this is Derek Hayes. Adrian looked at me like he was evaluating a below-average acquisition target. Your analyst? My boyfriend, Claire stated smoothly. Her inner thoughts were far less composed. There, I said it. Boyfriend. Do not smile. Why does that phrase sound so satisfying? Adrian laughed. You. His surprise was directed entirely at me. I smiled. Apparently. Claire pinched my arm lightly. Commit to the role, Derek. I rested one hand naturally on her waist. Her posture remained flawless. Her mind completely unraveled. Okay. That is his hand. Stay normal. Boyfriends place their hands there. Breathe steadily. I nearly lost the fake persona entirely. Adrian sensed tension between us and frowned. How long has this relationship lasted? 3 months, Claire answered. For months I spoke at the exact same time. Her fingers tightened against my suit sleeve. 3.5 months, I corrected myself. Adrian watched us with obvious suspicion. Right. Then a woman walked toward us from behind him. Derek. I turned to see a blonde woman, roughly 30 years old. She felt familiar, the frustrating kind of recognition where your memory struggles to catch up. Lauren. Lauren Grant laughed and pulled me into a hug. Oh my God, it really is you. Claire went rigid beside me. Who is she? Lauren stepped backward. I have not seen you since college. Yeah, it has been quite a while. You vanished right after graduation. Work kept me occupied. Lauren smiled. We should catch up sometime, grab drinks. Claire slid her arm through mine. Derek's schedule is extremely full. Lauren glanced back and forth between the two of us. Oh, my apologies. Are you two together? Yes, Claire replied firmly. Very much so. I covered up a cough. Lauren smiled awkwardly. Well, good for you both. After she walked away, Claire took a slow sip of champagne. You never mentioned her before. I did not realize my fake girlfriend required a full romantic history report. I'm not interested in her. Did he date her in college? She was merely my economics classmate. Claire relaxed roughly 1%. Good. Then another thought surfaced inside her mind. Stop enjoying this charade. Mason could be here inside the ballroom. My attention sharpened instantly. I scanned the large hall. Something wrong? Claire asked. No. Then I spotted a man standing near the back entrance watching our group. Gray suit, mid-40s, holding no drink in his hands. The second our eyes met, he turned away quickly. My phone vibrated inside my pocket. Another text message arrived. You are making this far harder than necessary. Ask Claire about Route 18. I read the message once. Claire's hand closed tightly around my wrist. Who texted you? Nobody. Her face stayed calm, yet her thoughts raced. Please do not let this message be from Mason. I locked my phone screen. What happened on Route 18? Claire's fingers released me immediately. For the first time all night, she looked genuinely caught off guard. Where did you hear that name? I stayed silent. Then her thought arrived, low and sharp. He knows about the accident. Claire stepped closer to me. Derek, we need to leave immediately. Not until you explain why Route 18 matters to me. Her eyes flicked toward the back doorway. The man in gray was already gone. Claire lowered her voice. It has everything to do with you. Then she grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the exit before I could ask further questions. Claire refused to release my hand until we reached the parking garage. Get inside the car. She unlocked her vehicle. I remained standing still. No, Derek. You cannot drag me out of a formal ballroom. Tell me why Route 18 connects to me. She switched back into strict boss mode. This is not the appropriate place to discuss this. Then choose a suitable location. Her jaw tightened. He will not get into this car unless I offer him something. 6 years ago she finally spoke. There was an accident on Route 18. I knew that stretch of highway. It lingered in the back of my memory for years. Rain, twisted metal wreckage, a woman trapped inside an SUV. I was 24 years old and reckless enough to crawl over broken glass before paramedics arrived on site. Claire studied my facial expression. You remember that accident, don't you? Of course he does. He remembers saving me. He just cannot recognize my face. That thought hit me like a punch. I stepped closer toward her. You were there. Claire did not answer. She did not need to. You were the woman trapped inside that SUV. Her expression hardened as if the truth offended her directly. Yes. Why never tell me? Because it was irrelevant information. I actually laughed out loud. You hired the man who pulled you from a car crash and you call that irrelevant? Because if I told you on your first day, you would assume I hired you purely out of gratitude. Did you? No. Her inner thought followed right after. Not exactly. That spoken denial sounded convincing on the surface. Get into the car. No. Stubborn man. Who is Mason Cole? Claire glanced toward the garage entrance. He worked for my father. Doing what work? Corporate security. And now he sends cryptic text messages to your fake boyfriend. Her head snapped toward me. He contacted you directly. I realized my mistake instantly. Claire held out her hand. Give me your phone. Absolutely not. Derek. Claire. I'm serious. So am I. If Mason shared details about the file, the situation is far worse than I feared. What file? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Claire froze completely. Damn it. What file? I repeated, trying to sound intentional. Her eyes narrowed. I never mentioned any file. Lucky guess. That excuse is growing stale. She stepped forward until barely 1 foot separated us. How are you accomplishing this? Accomplishing what? Answering questions I have not voiced. Bringing up facts I never shared with you. Knowing what I am about to say and somehow sensing when I feel jealous, that is incredibly humiliating. My mouth twitched. Claire caught that small movement. I have no idea what you are talking about. You are lying. And so are you. That statement landed firmly. I pulled out my phone and showed her Mason's message referencing Route 18. Her expression changed instantly. Block his number. Why should I block him? Because he is dangerous. Dangerous? In what way? He believes you possess something important. What thing? I do not know. I know exactly what he means. I slid my phone back into my pocket. All right, I have had enough. Claire frowned. Enough of what? All of this? I gestured between the two of us. The secrets, the half-truth explanations. You interfering with my transfer while pretending it is only about operational continuity. I told you I would reinstate the transfer request. I no longer want the Chicago position. Her inner thoughts brightened instantly. Thank God. I am submitting my resignation. Her expression shifted entirely. What? I will send my resignation paperwork to HR tonight. No. I let out a humorless laugh. That was not a request. You cannot resign. Watch me. No. No, no, no. I started walking toward the elevator. Claire followed closely behind me. Derek, stop. I spent 3 years following your orders simply because you signed my paycheck. Simple solution, stop accepting your paycheck. This matter extends far beyond my job. Precisely. The elevator doors slid open. Claire caught my sleeve before I stepped inside. The gesture was not dramatic. She simply held on. But Claire Bennett never clung onto anyone. "Do not," she whispered. Her voice grew quieter. Then I heard the thought she could not speak aloud. "You can hate me. Just do not disappear where I cannot protect you." I turned toward her. "Protect me from what?" Claire released my sleeve immediately. "I never said that. I grew tired of pretending otherwise." "No, you did not." Her eyes searched my face carefully. "What exactly does that mean?" The elevator doors closed behind us, even though neither of us stepped inside. I could confess everything to her. I could explain that somehow I hear every random thought passing through her mind whenever I stand near her, including the jealousy over coffee, the panic about our fake boyfriend arrangement, and the fact she clearly cares whether I vanish. But if I told her now, she might never allow herself to think freely around me again. "I mean, you act as if I am facing genuine danger. You could be, from Mason, among other people." "Who else?" Claire rubbed a hand across her forehead. "My father's company underwent an internal investigation 6 years ago. Financial fraud, bribery charges. Someone attempted to move evidence before federal investigators could seize it. And Route 18, the accident occurred that exact same night." "You are saying the crash was not random?" "I am saying the official police report left out critical information. That news was far worse than I expected." "Why would I matter to all of this?" Claire hesitated. "Because you pulled my bag out of the vehicle." My chest tightened sharply. A memory surfaced: rain, smoke, a black leather bag lying on wet asphalt. I grabbed it, assuming it belonged to the injured woman trapped in the SUV. "I took your bag." Claire's face drained of color. "How could you possibly know that?" I could not answer her question. She stepped backward. "There is no way he remembers that detail. Paramedics handed the bag back to my family after he lost consciousness." My phone buzzed once more. A message from Mason. This time a photograph arrived. An old picture captured me standing beside an ambulance on Route 18, soaked by rain, blood trickling down my forearm. I clutched the black leather bag in my grasp. Beneath the image, Mason wrote, "Claire never told you what was inside this bag. Ask why someone tried to kill her for it." Claire saw enough of my screen to understand the contents. "Give me the phone." "No, Derek. This is not a game." "I know it is not." I stepped backward away from her. "Tomorrow morning, my resignation will land on HR's desk." Her expression turned colder than I had ever witnessed. "Submit it?" I blinked in shock. She continued speaking. "I will reject the document." "You cannot reject a formal resignation letter." "Try me." Her inner thoughts were far less restrained. "If I must lock his laptop, cancel his building access badge, and camp outside the elevator, he will not leave until Mason is dealt with." Despite everything unfolding between us, I nearly smiled. "You are insane. I've been called far worse names." Then my phone started ringing. Unknown caller ID. Claire's expression sharpened. "Do not answer." I answered anyway. "Hello." A man's voice echoed through the speaker. "Derek Hayes. I am keeping an eye on Claire." "Yes, this is Mason Cole. If Claire is standing beside you, walk away before I reveal everything she has hidden for 6 years." Claire reached for my phone. I lifted it out of her reach. Mason continued speaking. "She did not locate you by accident, Derek. I already know that much." Then he added, "She has tracked you ever since the night you saved her." "Tracked me?" "Oh." Claire reached for the phone again. I stepped sideways to avoid her. "Derek, hang up this call." Mason laughed softly through the speaker. "Still issuing orders." "Claire, you are on speakerphone now," I announced. Claire's expression turned lethal. Mason went on. "Ask her how she learned where you worked before Bennett Strategic. Ask why your application landed directly on her desk." I looked straight at Claire. "Answer him." "Not here. That excuse is growing old. Because the truth sounds terrible without proper context." "Then provide me the context." Her eyes narrowed. Mason paused for a beat. "That was interesting. She refuses to speak openly." Damn. Claire noticed that silence too. I ended the phone call. "What secrets are you hiding?" "We are discussing your questions, not my secrets." "Derek, did you track my movements?" Claire glanced around the parking garage, then unlocked her vehicle again. "My apartment. 20 minutes. I will show you all the evidence. No more partial truths." "No." Her inner thought contradicted her immediately. "Not absolutely everything." I gave her a flat, unimpressed look. Claire frowned. "What?" "Nothing." 25 minutes later, I stood inside a downtown apartment that perfectly matched Claire's personality. Expensive, meticulously organized, and clearly designed by someone who hated unnecessary decorative pillows. She walked into her home office and unlocked a metal cabinet. Then she placed a folder down in front of me. My name printed clearly across the tab, Derek Hayes. That is not creepy at all. This is a security file. It contains my full name. That is generally how files operate, I replied dryly. I opened the folder. My college graduation date, my first job at Kramer Logistics, 2 residential addresses, all public employment records. Even an old newspaper clipping covering the Route 18 accident. One photograph showed firefighters surrounding the wrecked SUV. You kept all of this? Yes. 6 full years? Yes. 5 years, 10 months, 19 days. I lifted my gaze toward her. Claire instantly pretended to be busy examining the cabinet. Despite all the tension, that unspoken thought almost made me laugh. Why maintain this file? She crossed her arms tightly. After the accident, my father's security team interviewed every witness at the scene. You pulled me out of the vehicle and recovered my leather bag. What was stored inside the bag? A flash drive. Finally. What data was on the drive? Internal financial records. Payments routed through shell companies. Names of executives accepting illegal kickbacks. Enough evidence to ruin multiple high-ranking people. And Mason? He was supposed to protect that evidence. Instead, he vanished 2 weeks afterward. I flipped through the pages of the file. So you suspected I took the flash drive? No. Police returned the bag to my family. Without the flash drive inside. I stopped turning pages. The thought arrived clearly inside my mind. The drive was no longer inside the bag. Claire's face shifted. I never said that. No. I closed the folder, yet that information lingered. She stepped closer. How do you know that? Continue explaining. No, we have moved past vague hints. Is he reading subtle shifts in my facial expressions? He cannot possibly read me that accurately. Claire. Derek, you want me to be honest? Give me the full truth. That demand worked. She stepped backward. The flash drive went missing from the bag. Did you suspect I stole it for roughly 3 days? Great. Then I ordered an investigation into you. Even better. You were 24 years old, living with 2 roommates, carrying $12,000 in student loan debt, and driving a beat-up Honda with a broken passenger window. That Honda had plenty of character. Her mouth almost twitched upward. I loved that ridiculous car. I caught that quiet thought. You saw that car back then. Claire realized too late what I meant. At the time you met me after the accident. No. Her inner thought betrayed her once more. I spotted him at the hospital parking lot when he finished physical therapy. I leaned forward. When you rubbed your temple in the hospital parking area. I waited silently. Claire finally surrendered. You were leaving physical therapy appointments. I wanted to thank you formally, yet I hesitated. You were arguing angrily with a parking meter. That memory rushed back to me. I remembered that entire day. That machine stole $6 from me. I threatened to report it to the Attorney General. It committed theft, I stated firmly. A tiny laugh escaped her. It was so unexpected. For half a second, I forgot every serious conflict surrounding us. Then her expression tightened again. I decided you deserved to move forward with your life without being dragged into my family's mess. So you watched me from a distance. I checked on your status periodically for 6 years. Not constantly, only every few months. I raised an eyebrow. Define periodically. That information is irrelevant. Well, I reopened the folder. Near the bottom sat my original application to Bennett Strategic. A handwritten note sat beside my name, interview personally. You hired me because of Route 18 after all. No, Claire. I interviewed you because of the accident on Route 18. I hired you because you spent 40 minutes pointing out flaws in our supply chain strategy. The strategy was outdated. I know. That moment convinced me he was exactly the same stubborn, uncompromising man I met 6 years prior. I lowered my gaze before she noticed my reaction. Then I found another photograph. This one was unrelated to Route 18. It captured me leaving Bennett Strategic 2 years ago. Why is this photo stored here? Claire snatched it away from my hands too quickly. This image should not be inside the folder. Who took this photograph? Security personnel. What? Her thoughts completely shifted. No embarrassment, no hidden affection. Pure fear. Because someone else had begun monitoring him. My stomach twisted with unease. Claire. She walked toward the window. Roughly 1 year after you joined the company, we intercepted communications mentioning you. From who? We never confirmed the source. Potentially Mason. So instead of telling me everything, you kept me close within the company. Yes. Is that why you blocked the Chicago transfer? I did not block it myself. But you knew it would get blocked. She remained silent. I laughed without humor. You know what? Mason was right. She turned her head toward me. You never trusted me enough to share any secrets until I dragged them out of you. That assessment is unfair. You hold a 6-year-long security file tracking every detail about me. I tried to keep you safe by controlling your workplace location. By keeping you within reach of my security team's protection. And you assumed I would accept that arrangement blindly? No. Her steady corporate composure finally cracked. I thought you would leave if you learned the whole truth. That statement stopped me cold. Her thoughts softened, and I could not stand the thought of watching him walk away a second time. I did not understand what a second time referenced. Before I could ask for clarification, my phone buzzed with a new message from Rachel. Derek, weird question. Are you with Claire? Someone broke into your desk after you left work. Security found your drawers wide open. I showed Claire the text message. She immediately grabbed her own phone. Then another message arrived, sent by Mason. They are searching for the flash drive right now. I typed a reply. I do not have it. His answer arrived seconds later. You did possess it. You simply never realized it. Claire read the message over my shoulder. What does that mean? I have no clue. Then an old memory surfaced. The ambulance at the crash site. A paramedic taking Claire's bag and something small resting on the wet pavement. I picked it up and stuffed it into my jacket pocket without thinking. My mother stored that jacket inside a storage box after I moved out. Claire observed my shifting expression. What did you realize? I grabbed my car keys. I believe I know where the flash drive is hidden. Her thought echoed before she spoke aloud. Then Mason knows that location too. Your mother still lives in Brookfield. Claire already reached for her coat. I stopped at the doorway. How do you know my mother's address? She shot me a knowing look. You spent 20 minutes reading a security file full of your residential addresses, remember? Somehow this bizarre situation felt normal now. It should not feel normal. And this is definitely not how I imagined meeting his mother. I turned slowly. Claire caught my expression. What? Nothing. Stop doing that. Doing what? That specific look. What look? The expression you wear when I have not spoken a word yet and you react regardless. I opened the front door. We have far bigger problems to handle. Yes, we do. Like the possibility that Derek might be psychic. My foot nearly missed the hallway step. Okay, that level of observation was becoming dangerous. 40 minutes later, Claire pulled into my mother's driveway. I called ahead and gave Mom the shortest possible explanation. I needed an old jacket from storage and yes, I was bringing a colleague from work. That quick summary turned out to be a mistake. Mom opened the front door before we even reached the porch steps. Derek. Then she noticed Claire, and her entire demeanor transformed instantly. Mom. Claire offered out her hand. Claire Bennett. Mom ignored the handshake and pulled her into a hug. Claire's arms hung awkwardly at her sides. What should I do? Hug back. Yes. Normal human beings hug mothers. She carefully returned the hug. I coughed quietly to hide my laughter. Mom released her. You are Derek's boss. Yes. The scary one. Mom. Claire's eyes drifted toward me. Scary. He talks about me frequently. Storage basement, I quickly interrupted. Mom pointed toward the stairs. Blue plastic bins and do not leave without eating something. We will not stay long, I said. Claire replied at the exact same time. Of course. I glanced sideways at her. His mother invited me for dinner. This evening is going better than I expected. I nearly walked straight into the basement doorway. I began opening every storage box one by one. Claire watched me search. Then her thoughts became deliberately obvious. Purple elephant. I paused. What? I looked toward her. Claire's face stayed neutral. Purple elephant wearing roller skates. I slowly reached into another storage bin. Oh, she was running another test on me. Derek Hayes secretly collects porcelain dolls. I snorted loudly. Claire folded her arms. Interesting. What? I never said anything. You were watching me intently. I was mentally reviewing inventory reports. Liar. Derek looks extremely handsome when annoyed. I dropped a stack of old magazines onto the floor. Claire's eyes widened slightly. I caught her. She stepped closer to me. What exactly is happening between us? Nothing. Do not insult my intelligence. He reacted to that unspoken thought. I kept searching through boxes. Claire followed me closely. Can you hear my inner thoughts? I grabbed another storage container. Hear you speaking right now? Unfortunately, I was not speaking aloud. I stopped searching. There was no way to avoid the truth any longer. Claire stood 5 feet away, studying me with the exact expression she used when someone presented flawed data. Since when? I exhaled deeply. Yesterday morning. Her face remained calm, yet her thoughts exploded. Oh my God, Claire. You heard everything. Not absolutely everything. Her eyes widened further. I instantly regretted speaking. You just answered my silent question. Yes. You can hear my thoughts. Apparently starting during the meeting. Yes. The coffee incident too. Yeah. And the situation with Rachel. Unfortunately. Claire covered her face with both hands. I had never witnessed her show such vulnerability. This cannot possibly be real. I'm not exactly thrilled about this ability either. Her hands lowered. You heard what I thought during the Holston dinner event. Some of it. Her cheeks actually turned pink. The moment he placed his hand on my waist, I rubbed the back of my neck. I heard that too. Oh God. I tried not to listen. How can you try not to hear thoughts? I do not know. Think quieter. That is not how thinking functions. From upstairs, Mom shouted down the stairs. Everything all right down there? Fine. We both yelled simultaneously. Claire lowered her voice. You invaded my privacy. I never asked for this ability, but you chose to test me intentionally. I hesitated. That testing was scientifically necessary. You flirted with Rachel to test whether I would feel jealous. Technically, Rachel initiated the conversation with me. Claire pointed her finger directly at me. I knew it. Then she realized what she had just admitted out loud. I smiled. Very interesting. Do not smile. Extremely interesting. Derek, you were jealous. I was evaluating an inappropriate workplace interaction. I laughed out loud. She glared at me. I was catastrophically jealous. My smile widened. Stop listening to my mind. I cannot. Try harder. You are thinking far too loudly. That is not a real thing. It is when it comes to you. She turned away, muttering complaints about workplace violations. Then I spotted it. An old gray jacket tucked beneath a pile of winter coats. This is the jacket. I pulled it free from the pile. The right pocket was empty. Inside the left pocket rested a faded receipt I could no longer read. Then my fingers detected a small tear along the fabric lining. Something hard was hidden inside the jacket. Claire crouched down beside me. I ripped open the seam. A tiny black flash drive fell into my palm. Neither of us felt any urge to joke anymore. This is the drive? I asked. Claire nodded. 6 years. I rotated the drive between my fingers. Can we examine the files here? Not inside this house. Why not? Because if Mason's information is accurate, whoever wants this drive may know your mother's address. That thought sent a chill through my veins. We rushed back upstairs immediately. Mom had already set food out on the dining table. We have to leave, I told her. She frowned. You just arrived. I know. Work emergency. Claire stepped forward. Mrs. Hayes, would you mind staying with a friend tonight? Mom looked back and forth between us. Is Derek in trouble? Claire hesitated. I heard the truth inside her mind. Because of me, yes. A precaution, Claire stated calmly. Mom crossed her arms. You are a terrible liar. That trait runs through management, I added. Claire elbowed my side. 20 minutes later, Mom left to stay at my aunt's residence. Claire and I returned to her car. Before she started the engine, she turned toward me. One rule. What rule? You cannot repeat anything personal you hear inside my head. Agreed. And you will stop deliberately testing me? Probably not, Derek. Fine. She started the vehicle, then intentionally thought a clear sentence. I have never imagined kissing Derek in my office. I stared out the passenger window. Seriously. Claire smiled, a genuine, unguarded smile. I knew it. You cheated. You were testing a hypothesis. That line belongs to me. Her smile vanished when her phone began ringing. Unknown number. She answered through the car speakers. Mason. His voice filled the vehicle. You found the flash drive. Claire gripped the steering wheel tightly. How do you know? Because I was not the only person watching Derek's mother's house. I twisted toward the car windows. Mason continued speaking. You two need to leave right now. A black SUV rolled slowly past the end of the driveway. Claire's thought arrived sharp and immediate. They found us. Then the SUV came to a full stop. Drive. Claire did not require me to repeat the command. The car shot backward, tires scraping against the driveway pavement, before she steered onto the street in the opposite direction from the black SUV. I twisted around in my seat. They are following us. I noticed. Who are these people? If I knew their identity, this situation would be simpler. Please do not let them have additional vehicles waiting ahead. Claire accelerated through a yellow traffic light. The SUV followed closely behind through the intersection. Mason, I spoke toward the phone speaker. If you want to be helpful, share information. I'm trying. Try harder. Transport the flash drive to Bennett headquarters. Security can lock the entire building. Claire cut into the conversation. No. Why not? Mason asked. Because someone inside Bennett has leaked confidential information for years. That news was completely new to me. I turned toward her. There is a mole within the company. We can discuss details later. You really need to stop saying later. He is correct. Not helpful feedback. Mason let out a humorless laugh through the speaker. You two make an adorable pair. Shut up, Mason. We both said the exact same line at once. We lost the pursuing SUV near downtown after Claire made 3 sharp turns that were never taught in standard driving lessons. An hour later, we entered Bennett headquarters through the underground parking garage. Claire took the flash drive to an isolated computer inside the. We stepped into the security office. The computer inside had no network connection and 0 wireless access. Claire plugged in the flash drive, and folders instantly popped up on the screen. There were payment records, contracts, internal emails, and lists of names. Claire leaned closer to the display, utterly stunned. What? I asked, and she pointed straight at the name on the screen. Martin Bennett, her own uncle, chairman of Bennett Strategic. My stomach sank with cold dread. Your uncle is tangled up in all this. According to these files, he authorized every payment and canceled Derek's transfer. I spun toward Claire. Martin was the one who called off the Chicago move. Claire's eyes snapped to me and realization slowly hit her. You thought Mason was behind everything? I did. So it seems your uncle wanted me stuck in your division on purpose. But what was his motive? Claire answered without hesitation. If you left my department, I would start digging for answers. That single sentence explained so much. Claire copied every file onto an encrypted security drive. We need to hand this evidence over to federal investigators, and we have to do it tonight. The office door swung open before she finished speaking. Martin Bennett walked inside. He was 60 years old with silver hair. Normally he looked like a model from a private banking advertisement. Tonight, exhaustion weighed heavily on his features. Claire quickly stepped in front of the computer. Martin. His gaze shifted and locked onto me. Derek, you've caused an awful lot of trouble. Story of my life. Claire slipped her hand behind her back and brushed mine lightly, sending a silent warning. Don't let him know we found the proof. Martin's gaze drifted to the monitor. You've recovered materials that belong to the company. These are evidence, not company property, Claire shot back. His expression barely shifted. You don't understand what you are looking at. I understand shell companies. Your father understood them too. That's exactly why he buried the investigation years ago. Shock rippled through Claire. She could tell he was lying. Martin kept pushing. Hand over the drive. I won't, Claire refused firmly. Don't destroy this family over a misunderstanding. She let out a sharp, bitter laugh. You trapped Derek and my team because you suspected he had the evidence. You even sent people to watch his mother, thinking you could keep control. A tiny tell flickered across Martin's face, and Claire caught it immediately. So all of that was your doing. I never ordered anyone to threaten Mrs. Pace. But you knew what was happening. Martin said nothing in response. I slowly pulled out my phone and Martin noticed the movement at once. Don't. I'm already recording. It was a bluff, yet Martin believed every word. His eyes hardened sharply. You have no idea how much harm these files can cause. That's a decision for investigators to make. Martin took a step toward me. Claire positioned herself between us. Don't. One quiet word, stripped of all corporate politeness, and Martin froze. For the first time, I saw why senior executives feared her. He turned to face Claire. Are you ready to throw away your career for an analyst? Claire's face turned unreadable. He has nothing to do with this mess. Her private thoughts echoed in my head at the same moment. I would abandon every title before I let anyone hurt him. My chest tightened. Martin offered a cold smile. Then prove it. The next morning, Claire did exactly what he demanded. Just not in the way anyone expected. Every high-ranking executive was summoned to an emergency board meeting. Martin was absent. Federal investigators had received copies of the files overnight, but the board members had no clue yet. Claire stood at the head of the conference table. I sat halfway down the row. She refused to glance my way. Effective immediately, she announced, Derek Hayes will be transferred to our Seattle office. My head shot upward in shock. Rachel whispered beside me, what? Claire carried on. He will be excluded from all Bennett executive operations and the ongoing internal review. I could hear her unspoken thoughts beneath every sentence. Fight me. I clenched my jaw. Come on, Derek. You're transferring me. Claire finally met my gaze. Yes. Say no. You canceled Chicago and now you're shipping me off to Seattle. The situation has changed. Get angry. You could have told me ahead of time. This decision does not require your approval. Push back and show me I'm not impossible. I pushed my chair back against the floor. Claire's thoughts turned frantic. Do not accept this transfer. I understood her plan. She was publicly separating me from the investigation to strip Martin of his leverage. Yet I was tired of letting Claire decide which dangers I could face. I picked up the transfer paperwork laid out before me. Her eyes fixed on the document. Tear it. So I ripped it straight down the middle. Several executives reacted instantly. Claire's lips nearly twitched. Thank God. I declined the transfer. Board member Stephen Ross leaned forward. You cannot reject an executive reassignment. I just did. Claire folded her arms across her chest. Derek, leave the room. No. Good. Leave. No. God, I love this stubborn idiot. That stray thought almost broke my focus. I turned toward the board members. You pretend this transfer is based on performance or restructuring. That is not the truth. Stephen's expression grew tight. Be careful with your words. Are you planning to transfer me next too? Claire cut in. Derek. But her thoughts revealed exactly what she needed from me. Force them to slip up. Someone in this room knew Martin would show up at the office last night. That was his trap. I scanned every face around the table. Martin Bennett is under federal investigation. 3 people looked genuinely shocked. One did not, Stephen Ross. He reached for his cell phone. Claire saw the motion too. Security. The doors opened right away. Stephen stood up. You have no authority to do this. I am president of this company. You won't hold that title by tonight, Claire replied with a hollow smile. We'll see about that. 2 security officers moved toward Stephen. His phone lit up on the table, showing a message preview. Mason, stop contacting me. It's over. I looked over at Claire. Mason had been communicating with Stephen all along. Before anyone could speak, my own phone vibrated. A text arrived from Mason. You targeted the wrong person. Ross is corrupt, but he wasn't behind the Route 18 crash. Claire still hasn't told you who ordered the accident. I lifted my gaze. Claire was watching me closely. For once, I didn't need her thoughts to tell she dreaded what I had just read. I handed my phone to Claire. She read Mason's message and closed her eyes for a brief second. Conference room now. Claire, please. That quiet plea made me move faster than any official order she had ever given. We left Stephen with security and crossed the hallway into a smaller private meeting room. Claire locked the door. Who ordered the crash? I asked. My father. I waited for her inner voice to follow, yet nothing came. What? 6 years ago, my father found out I was copying records from Martin's accounts. He thought I planned to hand them to federal agents. Were you? Yes. And he tried to kill you? He sent men to stop me before I reached Washington. I don't know if he directly ordered the crash. I waited to hear her private thoughts again. Silence. Claire frowned. Why are you staring at me like that? I can't hear you. What? Your thoughts? She blinked, then stared directly at me. I cannot pick up a single word. Claire's expression shifted. It just stopped roughly 5 minutes ago. She crossed her arms. Good. That reaction irritated me far more than it should have. Good. Yes. I want my inner monologue back to myself. Fair enough. We sat there in silence. The atmosphere felt strange and awkward. For 2 days I had grown accustomed to two versions of Claire. The icy executive everyone saw and the messy, vulnerable woman underneath. She worried about coffee, Rachel, my transfer, and whether her mother's hugs were appropriate. Now all I had was the unreadable Claire Bennett once more. She sat down slowly. My father passed away 3 years ago. Martin seized control of the board. For years I believed Martin arranged the crash because the payment trails led to him. But it was your father. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? You already carried enough reasons to regret saving me. I pulled out the chair opposite her. I have never regretted that choice. You don't understand what the price was. All I lost was a ruined jacket and $6 for a broken parking meter. Her mouth twitched faintly. I missed the hidden thought that usually accompanied that small smile. I spent ages complaining about the intrusion into my mind, yet without it I could no longer tell if she wanted me close or gone. Federal agents arrived before noon. Stephen Ross was taken in for questioning. Authorities tracked Martin down at a private airport outside the city before he could flee the country. Mason turned over years of message records to secure a cooperation deal. The investigation did not wrap up overnight, but Bennett's strategic survived. Claire survived too. On paper, everything settled. Personally, she grew distant and closed off. For the following 3 weeks, she barely spoke to me unless work demanded it. No accidental thoughts, no random bouts of jealousy, no fake dating arrangement. Only emails. Derek, revise page 6. Derek, meeting moved to 2:30. Derek approved. That final line unsettled me most. Claire never approved documents without editing at least one comma. I made up my mind. I accepted a job offer from a consulting firm in Denver. I wasn't running away from her. I needed to learn the truth. I wanted to see if she would beg me to stay when I could no longer hear her secret thoughts. My final Friday arrived. Rachel hugged me beside the elevator. You're really leaving? Looks like it. Claire didn't fight it. She signed all the paperwork. Rachel pulled a face. That woman is an idiot. Watch your words. She can sense insubordination. Tell her I said it anyway. The elevator doors slid open. I stepped inside holding a cardboard box. A hand shot out to stop the doors from closing. Claire. She walked in and the doors shut behind us. Heading somewhere? I glanced down at my box. Grocery shopping. Funny. I've been told I have a good sense of humor. She pressed the emergency stop button. The elevator lurched to a halt. Seriously, you never replied to my emails. You sent me a spreadsheet. I acknowledged it spiritually. Claire let out a long breath, then reached for my box. I pulled it away. What are you doing? Put that down. What? I need to talk to you. I set the box on the floor. All right. She opened her mouth, yet nothing came. No hidden thoughts, no secret commentary. Only Claire face to face. You're leaving. You signed my resignation paperwork. I sign hundreds of documents every month. You wrote approved next to my name. That was a clerical error. I laughed softly. Claire. Her fingers tightened around her handbag strap. You said the mind-reading ability vanished. It's gone. You cannot hear anything from my mind? Nothing at all. She studied me carefully. Then she asked, what am I thinking right now? I have no clue. Good. What? Because I spent 3 weeks waiting to confirm this before I spoke. Her words struck me hard. Confirm what? That you couldn't hear my thoughts before I said this out loud. My heartbeat sped up. Claire stepped closer. I hated that you could listen to my inner thoughts. That makes sense. You heard things I was not ready to admit. Also understandable. You enjoyed all the drama with Rachel far too much. That was objectively hilarious. It absolutely was not. I smiled. There's the woman I know. Claire almost smiled back, then her expression turned solemn again. I knew who you were long before I hired you. I watched you from afar. I wanted to guarantee whatever happened on Route 18 would never follow you. Then you walked into my interview, criticized my company for 40 minutes, and somehow erased every prepared question from my mind. I remember you were incredibly annoying. Still am. Yes. She took another small step forward. Somewhere between you arguing with finance, stealing my coffee, and refusing to be intimidated by me. Protecting you stopped being the only reason I wanted you around. I dropped the teasing tone. Then what was the real reason? Claire looked frustrated with herself, yet I could not hear her inner voice to guess why. That made every single word she said next carry far more weight. One simple word. No mind reading required. I wanted you around simply because you are you. I leaned against the elevator wall. Interesting. Don't make me regret this. I wouldn't dream of it. I'm serious, Derek. So am I. She glanced toward my box. Don't go to Denver. What? You know why? No, I don't. Her eyes narrowed. I can't hear your thoughts anymore, Claire. If you want me to stay, you have to say it directly. She muttered something quiet under her breath. What was that? You're enjoying this far too much. Claire stepped directly in front of me. Fine. I want you to stay as my analyst. No. As your fake boyfriend. Color flooded her cheeks. Definitely not fake. There it was. I grinned. Claire pointed a finger toward me. One more thing. What? You think you prefer cold, distant women? I don't. For 3 years, I acted like an unemotional ice queen because I believed that was your type. I laughed so hard she shoved my shoulder. You could have just asked. That would mean talking about feelings. It's terrifying. Exactly. I caught her wrist before she pulled away. So what exactly is my type? Claire's confidence wavered for a split second. There was no secret voice to tell me what she hoped I would answer. I had to hear the words straight from her. Her fingers squeezed mine tightly. It felt meaningful without the mind reading, maybe even more meaningful. Claire reached behind her and pressed the elevator button. The doors slid open. She lifted my box off the floor. Where are you taking my belongings? My office. I'm not working tonight. Neither am I. I lifted an eyebrow. Claire walked away carrying my box. Dinner. Derek. Are you officially asking me out on a date? She kept walking forward. Yes. Well, major personal growth. Keep talking and I will cancel the plan. I hurried after her. You won't. Claire glanced back with the tiniest smile. And for the first time ever, I had absolutely no idea what she was thinking. I liked it better that way.